was in my 30s and I was a little bit naive. I had a lot of passion. I definitely, my identical twin, my twin made tens of millions on Wall Street. He wasn't naive about the world. His approach was different. He wanted fuck you money. We weren't raised safe. We grew up in a town back then that was pretty anti-Semitic, you know what I mean? And so he was less safe than me because he was more of an aggressive fighter type. I was a little bit deeper in terms of like, this isn't getting us anywhere. I still fought when necessary, but it wasn't fun. And our father was, he's a wonderfully sweet 89-year-old man, but I playfully say he was a cross between a gorilla and a barbarian. He just couldn't parent. Like, he was just so violent back then,
Right.
he just couldn't do it. And it wasn't mean. He wasn't mean or anything. You know what I mean? He just was violent. There's a difference, right? He just couldn't handle stress. So it was a difficult, dynamic there where where we just didn't belong in the town we were raised in. And then, in the family system,
Right.
we had my mother had a huge heart and spirit and everything. And she was a giver, and she helped a ton of people. But she also, had unresolved issues that she never dealt with. She did have a mean side. So it was a complicated dynamic, and that complication is a home run in terms of me helping people. I help businesses, right? Businesses are run by the family systems of whoever the fucking owner or manager or founder is, right? The family system, the unresolved issues are creating the dynamics inside the business, right? Sports teams are run by
Right.
coaches that are not necessarily conscious, right? The coach can build someone's confidence or take it away, right? Think about it, right? They have the power to kind of
Right.
erode people's confidence. So when I get a hold of an athlete, when I say get a hold of, when I get behind, because I'm an all-in type, it's a pretty fun, tenacious journey in terms of teaching them how to be motherfuckers about life on this planet. And that's complicated,
Right.
right? There are a lot of moving parts. The communication is a huge part of that journey.
I really love that how you said that people that are running businesses or running sports teams, for example, they're essentially building their companies subconsciously based on their
Absolutely.
family
Yeah.
systems where they came from. I've not, I've never heard anyone say that, but a couple of like even entrepreneur groups that I've been a part of in my life completely reflect that. Like there was one guy who created this like it was a great community, but you could tell it was a little bit toxic in
Yeah.
some ways, and it completely stemmed from what he was.
Unresolved. Yeah.
Um, I don't want to say manifesting, but what he was pulling together subconsciously from
Yeah,
his
whatever
family
was
systems.
unresolved, because
That's
most,
really great.
I mean, look, when I work with a lot, like I said, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of athletes, a sprinkling of executives. I'm a little out of the box for most executives, right? So it's more entrepreneurial types and then athlete types, right? And when I work with these
Right.
entrepreneurs, we get them a little more conscious, a little more self-aware, right? So that they're not unconsciously running the family system onto their children, wives, and employees, right? And women are
Right.
not dissimilar, right? They're doing something similar as well, right? So if your mother was too much of like, was too controlling, look out, right? You know what I mean? Like, you're either going to be too passive or too controlling. You're probably not going to find the right middle, right? You call it boundaries, I call it
Right.
honoring
Interesting.
yourself. I don't use the clinical jargon of boundaries, but it has value, obviously. I use the concept of honoring yourself in relation to the people you love. The devastation of my life was a reset around honoring myself. I'm wired heart based. I'm wired a giver. I didn't do a great job of honoring myself in my 20s and 30s, and the complete destruction of my life helped me reset that in a way that I was better at it. Now I'm good at it. But even at 41, and the near death, thing and all that, devastation or whatever, didn't fully reset it. I mean, that's how thick the conditioning was around putting others first. My mother, that's coming from my mother. My father was just kind of like surviving or whatever, right? He was a foot doctor. He meant well, but he was checked out just based on how he was raised.